I really think good love is hard to find. Whether you're black, white, Latino,
Asian and Brazilian,
like Chinese Jamaican,
Blaxican,
Melungeon. It is sometimes easier within your own race. There's things you don't have to explain. One of the white guys I was dating, it sometimes gets tiring.
You are very talented, educated, good looking. You can find you're comparable with us. There's just something about loving our people and wanting to see our people thrive.
There was a woman I met who was white. The minute it got hard, she was out. A terrific black woman. But if the choice was between her and a white woman who I really seemed to be connected with, you would have rather I married her.
No!
One of a very good friend whose parents were just frankly racist. And so they actually had to cut them off.
I thought more sparks were gonna fly with Interracial. All right, guys, it's Carlos Watson. I'm back with
Beverly
and Carolyn.
We're the Watsons.
Stronger together.
All right, so this is a spicy topic.
Uh-oh.
You guys feel like it's going to be a hard topic?
I actually don't, but maybe that's just because of my perspective and my experience. But no, I find as we're all part of the human experience. That's what Mommy said.
Oh, okay. So why? So where are you on interracial dating? What have you done, and what do you think about it?
So I'm very much my mom and daddy's child. I believe that I love to have heart connections, and I have heart connections with people across the spectrum. So literally. I've lived globally. I've lived in Angola, Brazil. I've dated people in those places. Some a Bolivian when I was in Brazil. I've dated Asian, Latino, black, white. I'm very comfortable with just when I find a connection. So.
And Carolyn, where are you? What's been your experience, and how do you think about this?
So it's so interesting. Interracial dating has always been a part of my family, right? But not a part of my personal life. So it's really interesting. I hold sort of two difficult truths or two different things at the same time. On one hand, I am very, because like I said, all three of my siblings have dated interracially, right? And I have been open to that, really not for Carlos initially, but I've been open to that for Bev and for my older sister. And so my truths are, I personally feel more comfortable and more confident dating within my race, so dating Black person, African American, of Caribbean descent. I would be great, but not necessarily from the Caribbean.
So not first gen, but like second or third gen.
Right.
Like we are.
Right. Because I just feel like more commonalities and things like that, less more history, things to explain. But at the same time, as a therapist and as a friend, I am very encouraging for people to go where you feel loved, where you feel safe, where you feel seen, where you feel heard, right? And so I think that's what counts and that's what matters. Yeah, right. But my two different truths, let me come back to that, is I've always been more open for Black women to date outside their race than I have been Black men to date outside their race. So why do I say that? Because I feel like there are a lot more high caliber Black women for Black men to choose from and to be able to stay within your race than and people who are committed and emotionally available than there are Black men. And so I feel like in order to expand horizon, in order to not be stuck, in order to have options, I've been more open to have Black women date outside the race. You know, I think as I've gotten older, I am more open to dating outside my race more. And I think actually you've been one of the people who have challenged me and who have encouraged opening up? Because you talk about, Black women feel so. What do you say?
I really think good love is hard to find.
Yeah.
This is true. I think it's hard to find. Whether you're Black, white, Latino, Asian, whether you're 25, 85, I think it's really rare. Someone who you really enjoy being around, they enjoy being around you. You're rooting for each other. You're working through difficult things. That's just hard. I think that's just really hard to find wherever you are. It's not just an American thing. I don't think it's just the times we're in. I think in any times, it's hard to find. And if someone, for whatever reason, ends up finding something that really, truly brings out the best in them, and bring, like, not that it's perfect, not that everything goes well, not that it's always easy, but that as a whole, it makes you at peace, it makes you the best version of yourself, then I say that's a good news, and I wish you all the best, and I hope I find it, and I hope each of you find it, and I hope other people I care about find it. So that's where I am on that. And obviously when I think about one of the 5 or 6, to my mind, best marriages I've seen is an interracial marriage, is our sister who's Black with our brother-in-law who's white, who's European, and they've been together now 30 plus years, and as far as I can tell, they still really like each other, they still root for each other, they still think about each other, they still want to help each other be their best.
Right.
And so that to me is, again, no one's perfect, but that to me is a good model. And so if I could see other people get a version of that, I'd say good deal, and that's great. And so I've encouraged you in that. But by the same token, there are people who just have preferences, and I've sensed all along that you have a really strong preference.
Yes.
And so I have, as you said, dated lots of different kinds of people. I've done more than date different kinds of people. I've lived with a Black woman. I've lived with an Asian woman. I've lived with a white woman. And I had a particular person I'd been dating for a long time who essentially disappeared on us. Very sadly, really, disappeared as soon as things, unfortunately, got more difficult, more formal. So that does make me wonder, like, who will be with you in the bunker. And even as we're building rows, I look around and I see Mexican American, I see Slovenian, I see Nigerian, I see Black American, I see white American, I see all kinds of people who are collaborating together and building this garden. And so I think about that. So am I still open? I am, in terms of a racial level, but in terms of, I clearly, having been through this, anyone would think, who is actually going to stick with me? Who is going to fight? Who is, and I think that our racial experiences may cause us to fight, to believe, to hope in a different way than maybe people who aren't Black and haven't had to walk through that. And I found that a number of people who weren't were ready to give up sometimes sooner because they were like, ooh, this is hard. Like, it's not supposed to be that hard. And, kind of riding in the Black car, was a little disconcerting. And they were like,
that tax.
Yeah.
Like,
they were like, I don't need to do this.
Yeah.
And so.
And they don't have to. You're right.
And they don't have to, and they don't quite see it that way, right? And again, I've shared with you before, there was a woman who was white who I met in the midst of this, who I really liked, just a fun person. And again, I don't know that I could have predicted to you that I was going to like her as much, but I smile to this day thinking about it. But the minute it got hard, she was out, right? And she was also a mom. And so, maybe that fit into it. There are also things you can't know that may have played a role in it. But all of that has made me, kind of think this through and think it through differently. But,
And I guess the thing I think about interracial relationships, like, I've dated lots of different people, and again, it's about finding commonality.
Right.
It is sometimes easier when you're talking about within your own race. There's things you don't have to explain. Sometimes you get tired of explaining why you get scared or frustrated around the police. Like, it seems like it's so obvious. And one of the white guys I was dating, it wasn't. right? And like trying to compare your experience. There's some things that are like, wait a second, whoa. And so I appreciate people who are willing to learn, and frankly, I'm also willing to learn, but you also, it sometimes gets tiring having to explain.
Especially when you're coming home at the end of the day, when you
Reality.
are having to explain and to go through life as a Black person, right? That there are different challenges that white people may not have to deal with, right? And so
I may not understand.
Right.
Although there are those who walk more closely with you, so like they already understand, or they grew up. So
or frankly, if they do understand, they can probably be extra helpful.
right.
Because sometimes, candidly, they have more resources. Sometimes
Right.
they have access to information and insight that you don't.
Right.
And
even the way how other people think about it.
Yes.
So you might say, "Oh, this is how I see it," and they're like, "Well, actually, sometimes a lot of white people might see it this way.
Right.
So actually, you responding that way might get this kind of response." You're like, "Oh, I never thought about that."
Yeah.
So I mean, getting that translation, if you will.
Yeah.
So
that can end up being a piece of it. One of the conversations that we have had before, something else is going on that's kind of more of a gender thing. That when we say, I remember I had a friend who a part-time girlfriend once said to him, call him Darren. That's not his name. He says, Darren, for you the grass is always greener. And he was like, Heather, it's not that it's greener, it's just new grass, and I want to walk on it. And I think that is hard for some women to really get to. That
I've
for,
heard guys
that,
say
that for
that
many
before.
men,
I haven't heard that.
the truth of the matter is, if I've got 12 opportunities, there are a lot of guys who are saying, I'm going to take all 12.
Right.
And if it makes you feel like, well, he's going out with a lot of white women and some Black women and some Asian women, he's going to say, and guess what? If there are 12 more, so it goes from 12 to 24, he's going to say yes to that. And I think that's the conversation that's not had a lot, which is that some men are driven by a distinct preference, but some men are driven by a preference not for a type, but for quantity.
I mean, it's one thing if you just want to date a lot of different people, like
Right.
Carolyn was saying. It's one thing if you're actually looking for a committed relationship. So if I'm looking for a committed relationship and a guy's telling
It's
me,
not really okay because you guys don't feel like it's okay.
Well, it's not okay
But I'm saying to you that monogamy or serial monogamy and that dating is something that we grew up hearing a lot of, and we grew up in hearing a commitment to that. But I'm telling you that I believe because I know a fair number of professional, college-educated Black men who are single, and I'm saying to you, a number of those guys, including some who I think have been wrongly written off. But what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that interracial dating is still a flashpoint. It's still especially a flashpoint, I think, with professional Black men dating non-Black women. I think people still feel more strongly about that than they feel about Serena Williams or Ketanji Brown Jackson or any of a whole series of other people. They feel more strongly about that than they do about if LeBron were. He's not, but if LeBron or Denzel was, they would have a much stronger reaction than that. And I'm saying that I think that there's more opportunity with some of the Black men who probably have been written off by Black women.
I don't understand what you mean by written off.
Right.
So are you saying written off because now it's a bumble world and Black women should approach Black men, and so because the Black women will not want to approach the Black men because they say, okay, they're only interested in white people or white women or non-Black women?
It's not even just approach, but it is, if you think something's a possibility,
Right.
you move differently.
True.
If you think something's not a possibility for whatever reason, a job's not a possibility, moving to a city's not a possibility, owning, then you just move differently around it, right? And I think that there are people who, if they really thought these 12 guys were part of their pool, they would move differently around them. Does that mean they would ask them out? Maybe not necessarily, but they would move differently around them, right? I could be wrong on this, but it's not like I've had one or two conversations on this. I've had dozens of conversations about this where I've said, maybe you're right, but like I'm talking to these guys and I feel like I know these guys and I feel like there's a missed opportunity, right? Because we all react towards how towards what we're seeing. Yeah. I mean, maybe it's not that dramatic anymore. Maybe interracial dating has gotten kind of blah, and maybe maybe the debates have just run its course. Do you think you should have focused on black partners only? Like, not from a principled place, but from if you were trying to guide younger Bev in terms of happiness, do you think if you had focused your search more, you would have ended up happier?
I should have gone past my comfort zone. Right. Because I think, honestly, if I was talking truth, I was a little scared because the black men saw me, where sometimes the white guys didn't. And then it's just you have to like deal with all that stuff. So I like being like, the bubbly kind of person that could be with a lot of different folks. So maybe if I wanted to really have a partnership, I probably could have focused with the black men.
What's interesting is that I had said initially that I was okay with my sisters, but I wasn't okay with you. But actually, because Bev and I were so close, I actually wasn't okay. I was okay with Bev dating white men or interracially, but I wasn't okay with her marrying interracially. And I've told you that before. When we were younger, and I felt really strongly about it. And
why did you? Because you really, I'm asking, it reached into your soul. It reached in your soul, and someone might say to you, why would that bother you so much?
I don't really remember why it bothered me so much for you. I think it may be because Bev is like, so I'm mini mom in how I look, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone always say I look like mommy. Bev, although I don't think I realized it, you're mini mom in her spirit in a sense. Mm-hmm. And mom was very open. People, black, white, Turkish, European, like they all love mom, right? And so that's the same thing with Bev too. And again, I was okay with that, but I don't know why. I wanted you to have a black man.
But so why do you think you cared so much? Like, because the harsh way someone could say it is, mind your business. You know what I mean? Like focus on you. Like, why are you so invested in someone else's story?
It was connected because I love our people so much.
Yep. Yes.
I think we are so beautiful. I think we are so talented. I think we have so much to offer. And I wanted you to be with a brother who was so talented and loving within the black community. I don't know, because of my love, I guess, just for black people. And for you, I was just against again because I'm like, you have a plethora of black women who are educated, who are talented, who are funny, who are fun, who are faithful, who are beautiful.
Can I push you for a second?
Mm-hmm. No.
You and be honest. There's a black woman who I live with. Not going to say her name. I don't think you were a big fan of hers.
Yeah, but I'm not just for black just to be black.
I know, but I'm making. That's maybe the point I'm making, which is that you're not saying absolutely anyone.
No, I'm not.
You're saying the right one.
Yeah, the right one, and there are too many of us are the right one. Yeah. They're beautiful, black, smart, accomplished. There's just so many of us, and so the one that you're talking about, referring to. Okay, that wasn't necessarily a good, I think, kind of match connection. Yeah,
but just to play it all the way out, just to say, I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but just so we say it out loud, you would have rather I married her.
No.
Hold on. You obviously would rather that I marry a terrific black woman who I really connected with and we were great for each other. But if the choice was between her and a white woman who I really seem to be connected with, and we really seem to be uplifting
You've
each
gone
other.
with other white women who I've told you. I remember at one point I was like crying, like I think I was across from your apartment building. You're in New York, and you were like, "Carolyn, I want you to meet." I was like, "No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet." Right? So I was like, "No," because a black woman deserves you. I've like, you are very talented. You are very educated. You are good looking. You have so much stuff going on, and you can find you're comparable with us, within our black
Let me ask you a
community.
question. Yeah, have you ever set me up?
Oh, good question. No, I haven't.
Well,
But that doesn't mean you didn't date any.
No. Hang on. We're only asking questions. No one's making judgments.
Okay.
But it's interesting for us all to pause and reflect on it.
So
why do you think you haven't? Did you just never think of it?
Because you're always with somebody. That's why. And so for me to set you up with somebody, that'd be kind of messed up because you're with somebody.
You have to be available.
Right? You have to be available. And so you're saying during your single times, when you were sort of in between, have I set you up? And no, because maybe the people that I would have thought of might be with somebody.
Yeah. Okay. And Bev, have you ever tried to set me up?
I don't think so.
Again, I'm not making any judgment. I'm just
Sorry,
asking. And why not?
But then there's one last final thing that at least previously, before, the reason why I ended up not setting you up is because you didn't embrace Christ the way I would have wanted you to.
Well, wouldn't that be all the more reason to set me up with someone who could?
You want to be equally.
You don't want missionary dating. That's what our old pastor used to say. Don't do missionary dating. Let a brother get saved and good and saved into the church before you try to go out and.
Now that's controversial. I want you guys to write in on that one. Do you agree with Carolyn? Hint, she's wrong. or do you want to be right? I mean. But that actually is a really that's actually a really interesting thing.
No, it's not really interesting. It is based in
It's biblical.
Biblical. It's based in principles, right? And so my principles are that I want to be with somebody who shares the same belief as me, right? And many of my friends are strong Christians.
I've heard people make the argument on both sides. I've heard people make the argument precisely as you and your pastor are making it, which is have someone do that work, make that commitment, and then you go there. But I've also heard people who've said enough drama, enough trauma, enough distractions have happened in this modern world that it would be a mistake to wait until that person has gone that journey. In fact, that person may need help. Not every person. But I've heard people say.
You're talking about two different things though, because you can help and you can also point to resources and to be able to help, but with an eye towards I'm gonna help you so I can get to you, right? I'm gonna help you because I want you, right? Like I don't know. There's
So not to say that can't work, because there is missionary dating where people have found each other and they've led to Christ. In fact, I think that's part of the our older sister's relationship when they first met, right? And so, but that also for me is a God-led thing. And so, I know that I have an openness, so interracial, but also I'm strongly a Christian and I believe in Jesus Christ.
Do you think if you met someone who was Muslim, who you
I have dated outside of my faith before, but I'm also very clear that in order for it to really progress or to be, or I should say, I've been attracted to people who don't share my same Christian belief. But
do you think it could work long term?
I think it might be challenging.
Do you think that's more challenging or racial difference is more challenging?
Absolutely. I think the faith thing. Because how I make decisions, I pray about big and little things.
Oh, but that's interesting. But you don't think that there's enough commonality often amongst religions that even if you believe you're praying to a different God, that a lot of the principles are the same?
No, because the other piece of it is that now, and again, we don't know what ultimately happens, but what we are taught in the Bible, which I believe, is that, you need to accept Jesus Christ in order
to be saved, and so not having Christ as a part of it, and there might be people who believe different things, it makes it hard. Now, I have friends who, like I say, aren't Christian, and I have friends who are atheists. I have friends who, Muslim, Jewish,
Same.
lots of, and feel very close and strong. But I think
Same.
in walking this walk,
And
it's
walking
really
in more of an intimate walk, where you're talking
Romantic
about a
walk.
romantic walk, or there, I want somebody who I can, at the end of the day, again, as a Christian, I don't believe I am my own. I belong to Christ, right? And so I want somebody who I can go and pray to God with together and know that we can walk through this, right? And so absolutely, hands down, I much rather a white, Asian, Latino, someone else that's Christian versus a black Muslim.
Well, but again, it was interesting that this interracial dating topic, there's much less heat and pop on this. I still remember going to see a movie called Jungle Fever, and it was
That was huge.
wild
That
and
was wild.
scandalous, and
Right.
it was, and there was a lot of conversation that was facilitated there. But it's
It'd
interesting.
be interesting to see what the community says about interracial dating. Is that really a topic that's hot and heated? And I'd love to hear what you think. Is it something that is status quo and it's like no big deal, or is it something really that causes you to sort of to pause a bit? So
I
I'd love to hear
also
some
want to hear
feedback.
something that surprises me, either about something particularly good about interracial dating that we never talk about, or something bad about it that we don't talk about, or one of the interesting dynamics is around the world, there are certain places where people have a super preference, right? So for example, I remember a super pale white Belgian guy saying that when he went to, I think it was Korea, but there was a particular Asian country, he was like, I've never felt so loved. He's like, most of my life growing up in Belgium, I didn't think I was very attractive to my fellow Belgian women. When I came to America, I didn't feel like people found me here. He's like, but I went over there and people love me. I found my tribe. And I think there
That's fair.
are places in the world, Italy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where white Italian guys seem to super like black women, right? Germany,
Right.
right? They seem to super like. And so there seems like there's a lot of interesting things that are at play in the world. But I'd love to be surprised a little bit and learn a little something.
It's interesting though, because when we talk about interracial dating, we always are talking about like color, right? You're talking about that, but in hindsight, for me, I felt like mom and dad were kind of in an interracial relationship,
Oh, because
right,
it
with a
was-
Black American and a Caribbean.
They're very
because
different cultures.
Very different cultures, and I think I always just thought, well, black is black, and white is white, and so whatever. So everyone's like different, but it is very different. And I think there's something there, and that's why even I say I would like perhaps a second generation Caribbean, because I want somebody who can understand it, like me. You've had a parent that was Caribbean, but maybe not born there, because it's different.
It is.
Yeah.
And then I guess I also wonder about, we're talking also about heterosexual relationships. And so what about within sort of a queer family?
Oh, that's
so,
very
like, what does
interesting.
interracial relationships look like there? And I actually know lots of couples, gay couples, who are interracial as well.
Gay men or gay women?
Gay men.
Yes. I feel like I've seen a fair amount of that from Don Lemon.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
as
to
an-
Anderson
as
Cooper.
an example. Is Anderson Cooper's partner of color?
Oh, I'm sorry, he's not of color.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, by the way, just to say this out loud, you try to put everyone in the bucket. One of the other things that we could say here is we obviously have had a very black and white conversation.
Correct.
Right? And so Ernie, for example, who's Mexican American, talked about having an Asian partner for a long time, right? And I think that Asian women may be the highest crossover group.
Yes.
And so that would be an interesting conversation too, because I remember in the 90s having a girlfriend who was Asian, and a lot of her other Asian girlfriends were dating white guys, and there was a lot of consternation among my Asian brothers about that. Like we are losing our women to that. And
But
so
I wonder also that's more in California again versus, like on the East Coast or, in Miami. And so.
No, I think Asian women are,
Have a
if
higher-
not number one or number two
wow.
in terms of out marrying.
Yes, I think that's
percentages. I think it's super, not just in California. I think that's a broader.
But
piece
we
there.
know a lot in California, though.
We know a lot in California as well. Interesting. Yeah, I thought more sparks were gonna fly with interracial, but I'm curious to hear what people have to say and where we maybe didn't go that we should have gone.
Where should we go next?
Yeah.
You have the mic. You got the mic. So please be a part of the conversation. Join our community. Join our family conversation.
And what did you agree with, or what do you disagree with? Who here are you disagreeing with? Right,
Carlo.
How are you going to tell him how wrong he is?
I will be curious to see what people say, and this may be good for kind of like to have a live conversation.
That's true.
I actually wonder what would happen if we had a live event in DC at a cafe, or in Atlanta at a cafe, or in Memphis or somewhere at a cafe, Baltimore at a cafe. Could be interesting. So I've got Ernie's asking about the parents when you're in an interracial relationship, and I've had a mix. I've had a father forget that he didn't hang up the phone and say stuff that he shouldn't say.
What?
And I'm not sure we were ever going to have a great relationship, but I got to hear unfiltered kind of how he was playing
And
it.
at least you know.
And at least one of the fathers I liked best was a black father.
To biracial or to a black?
No, a black man married to a black woman who had a black daughter. When his daughter and I broke up and haven't really been in contact, but when he passed, I actually really wanted to get in touch with her and the mom, and I sent her a note, and because I liked him. Like there was a immediate sense of warmth. There was immediate sense that I felt like he liked me, and I definitely liked him, and there was kind of a rich sense of warmth there. And then there actually was a white couple here in Palo Alto. I'd gone to college with their daughter, and I dated their daughter for a little while. And Jan and Pete, if you're out there, I'm talking about you. They were such good people.
Nice.
And years later, long after their daughter was married, had kids, blah, 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 Jan and Pete would still show up at events that I was speaking at. And they would always wait and come to say hi. And they were just...
Good people.
I hope I'm that kind to other people.
Yes.
They were, and it didn't feel fake, and it didn't feel like they were overdoing it. It just felt like, hey, I like this guy, and he's not part of our full-time squad, but there's no reason why he can't, be someone we continue to say hello with. And so they were good folks. They were, if you were making your choices based on parents, they would have been parents. Jan and Pete, I'm looking at you.
Although I will say, not in my situation, but in others, like one of a very good friend whose parents were just frankly racist. And so they actually had to cut them off. And so that's a hard decision, but and maybe it's another discussion we talk about like
Well, we had a
estrangement.
family member who did that, and that family member later, interestingly enough, said that was a key inflection point in their relationship, and it made them both commit to each other more deeply. Because at one level it felt not like it was literally only the two of them, but they knew that they were making a substantial decision to step away from half their
Conscientious
family.
choice.
Yeah. So Ernie's out here trying to throw firecrackers, claiming that he has heard that some black men, not yours truly, that some black men are hungrily and aggressively looking to date white women. I have no doubt, again, that there are people who sexually and attraction-wise are like, that's my jam. I also have no doubt that there's a real power dynamic in this world. And there are probably people who feel like they've been so crushed that dating what feels like power has some kind of resonance
Proximity.
for them. I don't know. Do you think that a lot of black men who you know have a deep hunger, for whatever combination of reasons, to marry non-black?
I don't know that I know a lot of black men over deep hunger, but you absolutely see it. You absolutely see it. And I want to name names because there's even some famous ones, right?
Okay, so you guys know one of the people I'm hoping to have on my show soon is Dr. Umar. And Dr. Umar is famous for saying, black queens forever, snow bunnies never, right? And so that's his way of saying, yes, there are a lot of good people in the world, but he wants to see black men and black women together. And one of the questions that Ernie wants to ask is, where does Dr. Umar get the nerve? Where does his strong sense come from? Carolyn, is it any different, you think, than where you? Because you're basically saying the same thing as Dr. Umar.
Power to the people. Yeah, there's something about just loving our people and wanting to see our people thrive and to do well. And maybe, I don't know how much it has to do with our cultural history where we were separated and we couldn't be with our loves. They tore black families apart and mated them with other people, right, in order to build stronger slaves and stronger people, workhorses.
Literally breeding farms.
Yeah, breeding farms. And so we didn't have a choice. And so it's like, well, you got a choice now. Why not choose us? It doesn't mean that others are bad or wrong, right?
But I think Dr. Umar is making an additional point, which is he is saying that whether we like it or not, there's ethnic rivalry in the country and in the world. He's saying this is a rough world. And he's saying that black people being together is not just about black love, but it's about black economics. It's about black power. It's about black survival. It's about justice, fairness. And so he's saying, no, there's something more profound. There's not just something that's about you, but it's about us. And I like Ernie, again, pushing us to look beyond just black and white. And one of the interesting things is I do feel like I'm seeing a lot more black Asian, black Latino couples. In particular, here in the Bay, I see a lot of black Filipino couples. And down in Southern California and down in Texas, I see a lot of Blaxican, as they call it, or Afro-Mex.
And one of my good friends in law school, black and Vietnamese, right? And so, So I think you're seeing more of that. And even I guess, in Brazil, it was more like sometimes you might have had Asian and Brazilian. They are Asian presenting. And so a lot of times, and when they were speaking Portuguese, but they're Japanese descendants. And so they weren't really accepted in Japan or in Korea because they were, of the two. So
that's similar though to Jamaica, right? To the Caribbean, right? So you had a lot of Chinese Jamaicans, right? And so I remember Chinese Jamaicans talking about coming here to California, and because they were Asian, right, and they were Asian presenting, and they would come here, so people would start speaking to them in Mandarin and everything. They're like, we don't know what you're saying. But it would be, their accent would come out really strong. Like, okay, no, these are not my people, right? I thought they were my people because they look like me, but oh my gosh, this is not, it's not me. And so,
well, our auntie would love to talk about Melungeon, right? And so how the melting of everybody together, because that ultimately is who we are, that we as a human race, we are all together. And so,
Who wants to do the wrap up today? We're doing that. Carolyn, you want to do the wrap up?
Sure.
Okay. What were your thoughts on this conversation?
My thoughts on this, again, like I said, interracial dating has obviously been a very large part of my life, family-wise, but not personally-wise. I think that this conversation to me brought out the fact that we all have different options and choices, whether we're choosing to stay within our culture or go without. The importance of being loved, the importance of being seen, heard, is really important to me. I think what you guys were saying, and we're talking about like family. How do families deal with it? Family connections. How do you relate? This was an interesting conversation. Something that we've had throughout the years. But I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you will tell us what you think. Tell us about your experience of your interracial dating. Tell us what your experience has been with your friends. Have your friends been supportive to you in your interracial dating or interracial marriages? Have you seen a difference or felt a difference between your own self and interracial dating versus marriage, right? How has it been with your kids, right? Have you felt like you've had to choose one or the other? Or have you sort of done, like you said, Spanglish, merge them together? How do you merge them together? What's been effective for you? So tell us what you think. We want to know. Thank you. We are the Watsons.
Stronger together.